Okay, just setting up. And I think we are live. Hello and welcome. Welcome. Let's make sure this is all working. How is everybody? Welcome to the Female Expansionist Collective. I am so excited to bring this, to have these interviews, to be able to have these incredible guest speakers on, sharing their soul, sharing their heart, and just absolutely giving everything they have got to help us all so that we can become aware, that we can take steps, that we can really step into our desires and live life by our own design. And I am so excited to introduce Claire Chapman for you. Just before I bring you on, Claire, I just want to make sure that everything is working. I can see myself, I can see you. Technology, and there we are. We're on. So hello, Claire, thank you so much for being here. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Lauren. Yeah, what you've created here is so amazing, so beautiful, and I'm so excited. So yes, I am Claire Chapman, and I'm leader of Attraction Coaching. I'm a mum with 5 children, 2 of my own, 3 stepchildren, and I live with my beautiful fiance. You can see him right here, out in the countryside with our 2 dogs. So life is like pretty busy, pretty hectic, but I love absolutely every minute of it. So thank you, Lauren.
You're so welcome. And anybody who will be watching this will be able to pick up on your vibes, on your energy. I'm just going to say, you are a mum with 5 children. 5 children, you're running a business, you are absolutely smashing it. You are a powerhouse, and I just love you so much. And as somebody who I've been working closely with over the last few months, you kind of, I love how you step into your power, how you truly own it. And for anybody watching this, you're going to know exactly what I mean as we go on. But first, we're going to jump straight into the question. And it's one really around the title of this series, because it can, for me at first, it brought up a little bit of resistance. It brought up a few fears. And I was like, oh, what if people think it's this, or what if that, or what if this? And all of these things come into my head. But then it really sat with my heart, because it's not about anything negative. It's not about any kind of, it's about expansion. It's about expanding our minds, about tapping into things that we never thought was possible, we never believed in before. It's about seeing life from a different perspective. And with that, this is why I've created this. What does the term expansion mean to you?
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Like, I'm absolutely everything to do with relationships in life, and I think the two go together. I think expansion has a relationship to everything. So for example, expansion for me is the expansion of my mind, the expansion of the physical body and what I can do beyond what I see as normal. Expansion for me, it's always an inside out game for me, expansion, everything from the inside out. So expansion for me is like my relationship. My relationship is an expansion of me, because wherever there's expansion within ourselves, we're always a part of the equation, right?
I love that.
Always. So like your business, our businesses are always just an expansion of ourselves. And so many people like go around on the outside looking for the outside stuff. And it's just like, when you come on back into that inside, and even like when I'm meditating, sometimes I get to that pure connected space with divine, with God, with the bigger source. And there's just nothing but like pure love and joy. And even then, from that, what I feel in the heart center, I can just lay there and just go, like, expand that out from the heart space. And there's times where I've literally seen like the whole world covered in pure white love from like my heart center. So I think, you know, there's no limit on expansion. It is limitless when we could just project out.
And that is exactly why I have invited you to be here as the guest speaker, because you have absolutely just blown it away. That is everything about it. And I will just want to mention for anybody that's watching, as you've just spoke about that expansion exercise that you do, it's something that I've been doing over the last few weeks, not to your depth of obviously what you've spoke about. Everybody's experience is different, but that where we guide the light and we feel from our heart and we allow it to expand, it is a tool that we can use. And the more that we practice it, the more that we tap into it, the bigger and the more I believe, the more peaceful, the more loving. There is an exercise out there, and I was so grateful you brought that up, because it's a really powerful tool for everybody. Everybody can tap into this, can't they? Everybody has the ability, and you just shine so bright and you're so open about talking about it. And this is what I love, because at first, when we first start talking about things, everybody everybody that doesn't know about it are a bit like, oh, that's a bit weird, or that's woo-woo, or this is. And it's the same as everything. Before we accepted the internet, it was a crazy idea. Before we accepted the light bulb, I'm sure the poor guy he got, we know the story where he got rejected so many times over and over again. And this, you just stand in your light and you shine. And it's just like, this is real. Just look and listen and lead as you lead other people go. And I love it so much. I'm going to get carried away, so I'm going to go on to the next question before I take up all your time. Okay, so I love this question. So thinking back 5 years ago, did you envision being where you are right now in your life and in your business?
100% not. 100% not. So 5 years ago would have seen me on a journey of a year long of depression, bipolar, divorce, in a job that it was working against me on every single level. My parents were looking after my children well, so I was at work during summer holidays and they'd send me photos. I could almost cry now. Send me photos of them taking the children to the beach and them taking them off to the parks, because I was stuck in this 9 to 5 job with depression, with a bipolar, going through the divorce. It was hell and heaven all at the same time, because from that point, my whole life did a 180. So I love it, because I wouldn't be the person I am today if it wasn't for that moment. And it was literally only just 2 months ago, April the 4th, 5 years ago, that I met this man. I manifested the man of my dreams. And even in that time, I was starting to come out of the, I was still on medication for the depression, the bipolar, and things. There were still elements of that to it. But the more I started to grow and I learned about myself and this desire that I had, I was still in the job when I met Simon that was killing me from the inside out, because it was so disaligned with, obviously I had this passion, this desire that I didn't even know what it was, but I knew it was not the life that I was living. I had the man, I had everything else, but no, the job and stuff. So it is still, I was not even in business 5 years ago. I was not a coach. I did not have this growth. I did not have this mindset. I was not this person that I am today, which when you say that is like,
absolutely. I'm actually shocked. I'm shocked by that, because the questions that I've set out, these are questions, and the whole point of me doing this is so that I can learn and that we can really discuss and get into it. And I'm just shocked, because I can sit here as well and say, wow, it's completely different from me. But to hear somebody else's story and to see exactly where you are, and I didn't know, obviously, that you met Simon 5 years ago. In my mind, that could have possibly been a few years ago. We seem to have in our head that it's either going to take too long, or because it's not here right in front of us, it'll never happen. And we're always going to go through 5 years. 5 years goes as quick as anything. My eldest now is 9, and it just feels like it has flown. And when I look back 5 years, and I fully agree with yourself on what you're saying, I do not. There are certain aspects of the past which I'd change, and I'd be like, oh, it's a bit cringy thinking about, and all of this, that, we're human, it's real, it comes up, we've all made mistakes. But when you're focused about learning about yourself, which is what you said, and that's what I really picked up from your message then, you had these labels, you were suffering at the time, you were poorly. And I fully, I respect that, and it's fully a real experience to go through. But to see you 5 years is not a long time. To see you 5 years later being the absolutely incredible, empowering woman here, shining her light as it is, I've got goosebumps. I've got goosebumps.
I've got goosebumps too.
This is what this is about. It's about showing people that even if we don't give up, even if we just take them small steps forward, we're going to look back and there's going to be a change. The only thing, or the only time that change won't come, is if we stay in the same place. And I'm honored. I'm so honored to be here and to hear very briefly, and this is one of the things I'm learning as well, is we don't need to share the details of the story. We don't need to go into all of the back path and everything like that. We can understand and we can empathize with other people when we've been on that journey as well. And it doesn't matter where they've been, what they've done, who they are, who they've been with. It matters who they are today. Mm-hmm. And a prime example, we can all walk forward on this path and we can all change everything. So I want to say congratulations, but that word doesn't quite fit. So your expansion is incredible. I'm going to go with that one. That felt good. So thank you for sharing. So we each have a reason why we do something, and you may have just touched on it, you may not have done, but what dreams and goals have inspired you to succeed? Oh, that's a juicy one, that, isn't it?
It is. And the thing that comes up for me is it does relate back to that time, which started 6 years ago and went on for about a year and a half, if not more. And I was a woman just before the 5 years. So if we go to the 6 years, I had everything: the cars, the husband, the children, the job, the money, the country cottage, the holidays. I had everything. And yet I felt soulfully dead. And the pain, internal pain, I can feel it now, the internal pain that brought me was the one thing that was, and still always is, the driving force for me through anything and everything, is to say, I don't want another woman to have to feel the internal pain of disalignment between soul and human. Like, I was looking to get out of this life, and thank goodness my soul saved me. That was my awakening moment when I heard the words, you have to help yourself. And we can go on and say, what is my purpose? What should I be this? And what does this? And it always comes back. I can glorify words and everything else, but it always comes back. If I can help one woman to not feel that pain, that internal disalignment that I felt, I've won. They've won. The world is a better place.
Powerful.
So it's powerful. I've got dreams, I've got aspirations, I've got all those kind of things, and they do pull me forwards. But the anchor point, the point that keeps me grounded at the same time as expansion, is that holding on, that I don't want another woman to ever feel that pain where she doesn't know her purpose. She doesn't know why she's existing. She doesn't know why she doesn't feel the way that she wants to feel. There's a lot of confusion within a woman, especially I think around these things. And so that is what always stays with me as a driving core for the work that I go in and the way that I live my life. I owe it to myself. From it's also I didn't go through all this pain and shit for nothing, right? I gotta do something with this, come on. So it's that.
I absolutely love that, and I can relate to part of what you're saying, because for me, with my experience, you just use different words and we still have that same pain, that complete shut offness. For me, I was a shell. I didn't feel, I couldn't feel my emotions, and then it went the complete opposite way, and I, completely emotional. I own them. But what my point was is how you say, you just want to help one woman not feel that pain. And my mission's very similar, and mine's about coming back to ourselves, about having that relationship with self. And it's exactly the same as what you're talking about. There is a connection point in between. When we're constantly looking outside ourselves, we lose part of our essence, part of who we are, and our truth and our heart and our beliefs, and everything that kind of comes around that it's molded around other people. It's molded around other people's desires. And with how you've just explained it absolutely beautifully, it's remembering that this is always within us. And I love how I've questioned it as, what are your goals that inspire you and succeed? And what come through that to me is, there's always going to be goals. You're always going to want to succeed, but your main goal is to be true to yourself, is to stay with yourself.
Yes, it was because in the moment where I wanted to leave this world, the words, and it's funny because this came up in the shower just now as I was getting ready. I was like, there's a masterclass on this. Why do I not remember? And the words was, you have to help yourself. And at the time I didn't know what that meant. And even in the shower, like an hour before we're coming on here, and I'm like, oh, that means so much more now. I've gone through the experience. Like, that has to be a masterclass, because it is about, I did something the other week about coming home. That's the accelerator to manifestation, to desires, to success. You have to come back in first. Otherwise you can go so far out, and then you get stopped because you don't understand your energy. You're not in alignment with who you are. You don't understand yourself. You're not shining light on your fears and your bits and pieces. You're not doing the inner work. When you do that inner work, the expansion becomes effortless, because you're expanding every day anyway, but it depends what you're expanding out. Take a look in. If your results outside are not the results that we're looking for right now, is because that's just a reflection out from the inside. So we always come back in, always every day, come back in, shine that light, do the work. What are you expanding out? Check it out.
It's such a shame that this isn't taught in mainstream. It's a shame that this isn't common knowledge, and it's one of my missions as well, to help people understand, because I know when I first started this journey, and we're going back before the 5-year point, I didn't have a clue at how to do the inner work. I didn't understand. When people used to say love myself, I'm like, ooh, that sounds a bit weird. Why would I want to do that? And I didn't have the awareness. I didn't understand it. So if anybody's watching this and they're like, I'm hearing this a lot. I'm hearing I need to look within. I'm hearing, I need to, there's so much out there, go within, do all of these things. A lot of it is learning who you are, understanding yourself, having a level or a foundational understanding of your own beliefs, your values. Where do they come from? Are they working for you? Are they helping you and guiding you? Or are they somebody else's, or keeping you in a place where it's bringing up a lot of fear and resistance? So I love this. I love it. So I'm going to move on with the next question, but I just love how you answered that, because I was half expecting, it's because of this dream and it's because of this, and you just got the essence of it, and you brought it right home to the message of what this is all about. It's all about shining that light on ourselves to become back to being our own best friends, so we understand who we are and we can take action from that place, and we're going to be much happier doing it that way. So
well,
that's my understanding.
I've still got desires for my dream car. I've still got desires for my 7-bedroom farmhouse. I've still got desires to go and get married on a beach. I've still got desires to give money to charities. Like, I've got all of that. But if I just focused on that, then I would miss the what I would be doing it for something material or outside of myself. So yes, of course I want all that. I want it all. I want it all, but I have to remember where it comes from first. That's me.
So excited.
That's me.
I love that. Okay, so who has influenced you the most on your journey? I'm quite intrigued to hear this answer.
Who's influenced me on my journey? Let's go right back to the turning point, and I would have to say my connection with spirituality, even though I didn't know it at that point. I didn't know that was an awakening moment. I didn't know that my inner soul and God was talking to me in that moment. So that, like, thank you so much for giving me those words and that awakening moment. So the connection with spirituality. I would probably say Melanie Ann Leah has been in my life for the last 3 years. The most beautiful, incredible soul and woman who spoke to me in a way that nobody else had ever spoken to me before. I've coached with her, I've been in all her programs, I still hang out with her now, like online. She was just like this whole new breed of human and soul that touched my soul, and she was the driving force for me, that first sort of driving force. Simon is an inspiration for me. He holds the drive.
You're right from smiling so much.
He inspires me through like his drive, his love for health, how he takes his body so seriously, how he, you know, connects, does his meditation. He's always has a thirst for life, as do my parents. They're 70 odd years old, and they just, if it wasn't for quarantine, they wouldn't even be here right now. They'd be off, like, you know, they got stranded in Spain during quarantine. They just go and live life. It's not about everything around here. So I have a lot of people, good people that surround me, and I have good people that inspire me. And I think along the way there's been lots of other people. I always think quite a lot about my mum's mum, my grandma, well, Nanny as she was called. She was such a strong female essence. I didn't quite know it when she was alive, like, because this is all new to me. Her, yeah, so there's a lot in there, but they're probably my main inspirees.
I love that. And if anybody's watching, I can't give them directions obviously to your family members or anybody, but Melanie Ann Leah is on Facebook. I'm sure she'll be more than happy to welcome you into her world. I say everything that you say. To me, she's like an earth angel. You know, I just learned something so different. And every time I hear it, it lands differently. It's different perspectives, and they always feel so good. And they always raise my energy. And I am not going to ever turn away any coaching or any person that speaks in that way and brings so much light and joy to people's lives. And it's all about, if we accept it, we have to be open to it. We have to be ready to say, okay, there's an area I do that and it doesn't really work well. And sometimes I get triggered, and sometimes I celebrate that trigger because I'm like, oh, I've been doing it like that for so long. And yes, now I can change it. Now I can turn it around. So there's so many people out there, but I also, you know, it's a huge one. She is absolutely beautiful and incredible in what she does. And like I say, I can't give anyone links to your mum and dad. Just while we're talking about it, Simon's your PA, isn't he now? Did I get that right?
He's like my operational person within attraction coaching right now. So yeah, I'm human design. So I'm a manifestor in human design. And so I have the downloads, I have splenic authority. I'm like, everything comes firing out. And then I'm like, okay, I'm all good when I'm in alignment. Then I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm tired now. Or whereas he's got Manny generator in him, so he's got the generator. So I'm like, right, I've done this, great, that lot needs editing. Okay, can we do this? So I'm like, kind of, like, I do all my programs, I do all my graphics, I do everything that I enjoy. But there's also the engine, and it was funny because I was on a live today and Spirit were talking through, and they're like, Claire, you need an assistant. So he's still got his own business, but like, he's creating music and stuff for me, he's editing stuff right now for me. But no, he's not my assistant, but he's definitely an engine for me. I do think an assistant.
I just love how you support each other, how it works together, it works for you. And one of the things I really want to point out there is you do everything that you enjoy, and you pass on the other bits that maybe somebody else would enjoy. And this is the beauty, isn't it? It's the absolute beauty. When we start recognizing what we enjoy, what we like, we can truly go, I really don't like writing X, Y, and Z. Like for me, it's like big, long post, big, long. I'm very visual. So a lot, it's got to be quick. The information's got to go, okay, I understand it. That's just how I work. So when I get like essays or big, long emails, I'm like, and I just love how you're just like, yeah, that doesn't feel good to me. So I'm going to move it on. And this is what I'm learning, to delegate things that don't necessarily make me feel good. But we can not only do this in business, we can do this in life. We can do this around our household chores. We can do it around bedtime routines. It's a big one for us. We're working through. Harper's just literally, she just won't sleep at the normal time. So we're changing things a bit. Yeah. But it's all about working together, isn't it? And I just love how you brought that in, or how I asked you the question, just to see how it all comes together with the influences around you, and how you continue to expand. Because when it's so close to you, as you're expanding, so is he. As he's expanding, so are you. And you've got this consistent journey of elevation, of growth. And it's absolutely incredible. So,
and communication, it's support, it's like still having the fun times. Yesterday we went off up on an old camp to fly kites, like the whole day. We had chocolate cake, we had roast dinner, we were flying the kites. Simon was in his element. I got dragged across the field with kites. Like, it's about having that fun time as well. And we lost that for a little bit. We would have fun sat in front of the TV, like Simon and I, we can laugh at each other and still have a good time, but it's still also bringing all that into the family as well. Like, make sure you have fun, make sure you have your date nights, make sure you communicate as a family, make sure, just doing all of that. So I'm very, very blessed. And people say I'm very lucky, but I'm like, no, you don't know the work I had to do on me to attract a guy like this. And he was the same.
And also the work throughout the relationship, because from my understanding, it's not always rose. We still have to work through things together as well. And to be able, the biggest one, like you've just said, then, is communication, isn't it? Once you understand what triggers you, what you don't like, what you do like, we can then communicate it. And it's through that communication, because how can anybody know what we like, what we don't like, if we're just constantly allowing things to happen? And then all of a sudden we blow up, and it's really, really powerful, isn't it? Really powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's been the most important lesson? What's been the most important leadership lesson you have learned, and how have you overcome it?
Okay, leadership lesson. So the problem that I found, and it's probably mainly in business, I can lead myself. I'm so determined. I have drive. I have all of that. If I say I'm going to do something, I'll do something. But when it was coming to my business, I was doing all the things. I was showing up. I was doing the go live for like 60 odd days at a time. I was showing up live. That didn't matter. I was launching programs. I was doing all the things, and yet the results weren't coming. And I think the lesson from that was I wasn't doing the inner work to the extent that I've realized I've been doing this year. And that's when it shifted. The inner work is where the results come from. That's the expansion, where things come from. So I always used to say, but I need to be doing this. I should be doing this, and sitting there at the computer 8 hours a day. And it was like, no. Like, come back every day. I check my energy. How's my energy? Where am I wonky? What do I need to flip round? Like, do I just want to go and have all weekend, like with the family, eat chocolate cake, have roast, fly kites? Yeah, that's what my body wanted. And even today, like, I've been running, I sorted out the kids. And I was like, I don't want to go in the office right now. That's not aligned for me. Like, I want to start I was clipping a dog, and then Dad and Simon are working outside in the garden. And I was like, I just want to stand here and have a coffee and be in the sun. And it was like, 1 o'clock, I need to go and have a shower now. I'm on with Lauren. So that to me, and then I've had messages come in this morning like, hi, blah, blah, blah. And Simon had a client reach out, and he was digging up the garden. And I said, it's not about what you're doing. And this is one of Melanie's things that she said. And I would been in her energy for 3 years, and it's taken this long for me to really understand what that means. And it's not about what you're doing. It's who you are when you do it. If I've heard that 1,000 times and that didn't land properly, that's what happened, until I realized that I was like, I make the decisions, I make the choices, I decide what I want to do, I decide how I want to feel, I decide like this. And it was like, the minute I became more me and I ran into my fears and I did the work around that you can sit here now and almost say, I don't give a fuck, but you do give a fuck, but you kind of don't. Like, you don't worry anymore about the fears and things like that. They come up, you work through them, you move on. I've had like the biggest, April was my biggest month in my business for over 3 years. May was the biggest month after that. June, we just broke the 5K mark, like this month. 5K. Wow. I've done less, and I hear women coaches saying this all the time, and it used to annoy me. I've done less, I've had more fun, and you just think, how? Because of the
trained though, aren't we? Yeah, we're trained to think that way. We're trained to constantly, it can't be easy. It's got to, life's hard, and you have to work hard for money, and money doesn't grow on trees. It actually does, but let's not go down that path. All of these things that come up, and we believe them. And like you've been speaking about, when we do the inner work, and that's meaning looking at what it is that we're believing, what it is that we're saying, how we're acting, around them circumstances. And when we shift that, when we shine a light on it and go, okay, what if I looked at it from a different perspective? Things literally, it's like, for me, there's been many times where I've looked at something different. My whole body's just gone, and I'm like, yes, that's the right answer. And everything just flows. Everything just goes into place. And it's practice. And I think a lot of it for me, especially, it's learning to trust. It's learning to trust that, yes, it's all there within me, and I'm able to do this even when I am so scared. It's about, like you've just said, you push through that. You really do. And fear for me used to be something that if I felt uncomfortable, that meant it was bad, and I do not do it.
Yeah.
I am so glad I got over that one and changed that one, because otherwise I would still be lying in my bed, not very happy. So, but it is about, looking at the inner work. But what I want to mention while you're here as well, because I know you've got a beautiful way of explaining things. For me, what used to hold me back from doing the inner work was I was quite scared because of the terminology that was being used around shadow work, unsexy work, the dark side of ourselves. And I always believed, I always knew, I was going to say, I always have this voice. I've always got the intuition. I can feel that, but I block it at times because of that fear element that comes up. So I was getting sidetracked again then slightly, but my question was, I had a really good question, and it's just gone from me now as you're smiling at me. Oh, what was it then? What was I just saying just before? What did you just say, that last bit? It was about doing the inner work, about the trusting ourselves and trusting our intuition, and it's just completely, it's gone. Gone. So
you're talking about the work being unsexy and the dark side.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. And what it used to do, I used to hold myself back from that place because I was scared of doing this, whatever they used to say shadow work was. And in my head, I used to believe it could possibly a ghost or some demon or somebody come and take over, and I'd have no control. And it created a lot of fear in me. So anybody that's watching this and they're new to it, there's so much information out there now. And this is the beauty, isn't it? The internet has got so much information. But can you explain, this is my question, can you explain how you interpret it? How did you kind of start doing the inner work? How did it sit with you?
So it kind of wasn't a thing that I went out to do, to go, right, okay, what work do I need to do? I don't kind of feel like we need to go back in there and find it and do all that stuff. I believe that it just comes up, and when it comes up, then we can work through it. Now, I don't also always believe that it needs to be painful. I did a meditation once, and I reframed 43 years of my life with 5 major events throughout my life, from the age of 6 months to, I think it was about 6 years ago, in less than 20 seconds.
And this is how quick it gets to be, though, isn't it? This is how it gets to be.
Yes.
you've just helped me learn then as well, because we've spoke about this in the past, and for anybody that's watching this now, is for me one of my holdbacks, my resistance that comes up is I tend to have an automatic reaction to go into victim mode, and it fix it as well. Yeah. So my direction towards like the self-help, the self-healing, I started with journaling, but for a good few years it was very much I need to fix myself. And what you've just said there has just landed so perfectly with me, and it's helped me learn as well, because there are times, you know, where I am trying to get something or trying to receive something, and it's like, right, how do I do this? And I start journaling from that energy, which doesn't bring that to me because it's very structured. It's not the process. And I love how you said that, because we can all perceive things differently, can't we? And it's all how we kind of take it on. So had I had sat here a few years ago, maybe I wouldn't have had to go through a couple of years of just keeping myself in that same cycle, in that same energy, because for a while that's how I was doing it. But had I not, I wouldn't be able to share that now and teach it as well. So
and I believe in the universe knows our desires, it knows our paths, and it knows what needs to come up to be removed to allow us on to the next step, up to the next level. Who do we need to become? So what we don't want to do, this is my belief, I don't want to go inside Claire, dig up all the crap that I don't need to work through, to put myself through that pain if it's not needed.
I did that for so many years.
I believe that, you know, when it will come up for me. I've literally had, Lauren, you know this, like the past 2.5 weeks. In the first week, I had 5 of my biggest fears were triggered: rejection, hurt, loss, judgment. What was the last one? There was another one. I can't remember what it was. I had all 5 come up that I had to deal with. And I thought that was enough. And then it brought up my rooted auto pattern that has been like scripted out throughout my life. And it did mean that I lost friends and all this kind of stuff. And I thought, do you not think I've had enough? My 5 biggest fears of the whole of my life in 1 week. Now you're going to throw this pattern into it all at the same time. And I cried. I felt that. I was literally with my head over the toilet, like thinking I was going to be physically sick. And at the same time, Lauren going, woo, this is going to be big one. Like we know when the when you go through those breakdowns and the breakthroughs come the other side, it was physically so much like I was like, I couldn't talk, you know, and Simon just left me in the bedroom. I think it took about an hour for me, like feeling sorry for myself, all that kind of stuff. But at the same time going, I've never physically been sick in a fear. This is going to be a good one. So at the same time of the physical body going through and trying to process the fears, the monkey brain trying to hold us tight, the soul was like, yay, on the other side of this, it's gonna be good. And I literally, yes, I worked with my coach and we went through a couple of things. We found the pattern. And I said to her, can it be that easy? Because now I feel really good. And she's like, yeah, why not? Why do you want to make it hard? So the hardest bit was sitting there for an hour thinking I was going to be sick, crying, feeling sorry for myself. My little girl was like within me was all coming out, all those kind of things. And I went, oh.
It just goes. Oh, it's crazy, isn't it? And I think for many years, and lots of us as well, because we don't know how to manage emotions or how to let them flow. Me, especially a few years ago, being in that situation, I'd have held it all in. I'd have held it close to my heart. I'd have put that barrier up and it had been fine. If you're like that, I'm going to go elsewhere. I'm going to shut myself off. I'm going to do whatever. And this is what I'm realizing as I can keep seeing my hair go over my ear. It's driving me mad. But what I've realized as well, because I'm an emotional authority, I'm a manifestor as well. We'll go more into that at another point. But because of that, I am so emotional. And for at least over a decade, I had this wall up from the age of being about, it was from the age of 11 all the way up to my early 20s. I had this wall up and I didn't I didn't feel. And to be able to all of a sudden break through this and start thinking, when I started really feeling into my emotions, I was so scared. There's many times I've been sick when I've been having panic attacks, and I've had all sorts of physical fear come through, and it really did. It brought itself into anxiety and all sorts of things. But when I started to understand it, when I started to let it flow, like you've just said, a few years back, I'd have sat there, and if I'd have heard somebody speaking, going, I sat and I was, I just let it flow and I was rocking, I was so upset, I'd have been thinking, that's the worst thing. I never want to experience anything like that. Whereas now it's like, I can't wait to see this evolve, because what I have learned is when we allow it to flow, the magic truly is on the other side. And it's like anything in life, it's like the universal laws. When one thing goes up, it's got to come down, or when it goes down, it's got to come up. And it's the same with the weather, and the same with when we have bad periods. We always have good periods, because it's the polarity, it's how everything works.
Yeah. And it's being able to walk with it all, because this is what I've learned. If you're in life or business, you think, when I have this, when I am successful, then everything would just be happy and amazing, and all the bills would be paid, and we're just going to have so much fun. And it's just like, no, it doesn't work like that. Like, you need to work and walk with the fear and have the happiness and move through both. And I've just done what you've just done. Something just came into my head and I lost it. Is yeah, isn't it ironic? I went through 5 of my biggest fears one week. I found a rooted pattern that was triggered and brought up for me to work through. A day before the doors were opening to my manifestation program, and then a few days after that, I break through a 5K month that I'd never done in 3 years, because it took that level of me. Like I said to the girls in the manifestation program, I clearly had to go through that to be able to come into the program at a greater level for the highest good of everybody. It was like an incredible program that was downloaded to me in 10 minutes. But I think the person who I was 3 weeks ago wouldn't have run the program the way it meant to be. So I had to go through that process. I clearly had to clean all this up to be able to move on through from the monetary point of view. I was stuck at 2K a month. And when you see it like that, you celebrate, like you do get excited and throw up all at the same time.
Yeah. Get used to the mix. I love it. Okay, so I love this question as well. What do you do to challenge your underlying beliefs, paradigms, and assumptions? How fitting has all this conversation gone as well?
Right, say that one more. There was a word in there that I wanted to touch on.
Okay, what do you do to challenge your underlying beliefs, paradigms, and assumptions?
Okay, first of all, I don't challenge them, because they don't need to be fixed.
I love that. Thank you.
Because that would put me into there's something wrong, something needs fixing, this is going to be painful, this is going to be hard work, this is going to be a challenge. So drop that word. I don't see it as that. I see it as, and I always have it in my head, that if this is for me, what do I need to work out? If this is for me, where do I need to go and get the support? Can I do this myself? Can I not do it myself? Do I need the support? Now, sometimes that will be, and I go with the flow on this. I have no process. 1 minute, it may be that I need to write in a book. I would literally get a notebook. This is what came out. I had to go back and find the very first event that happened where this pattern was created. Now, I can't remember all 44 years of my life and everything that happened. I can't remember where this pattern happened. So I had to grab the pen and paper. That's how I work with spirit as well. So I literally wrote out, dear God, help me. I've got this repeated pattern. This is happening. Where does this come from? And I heard the words that came out and said, you told your mum you hated her. I was like, oh, really? Monkey brain was like, I would never have said that. And then it came out that my dad told me off. My dad was my hero, still is my hero. He told me off. So that created the pattern, and I heard it at the age of 4. So the pen brought all that out through the soul, so I could go back to that rooted belief. So sometimes it's the pen. Sometimes I do energy transmutation. Sometimes I just surrender the whole bloody lot and go, take the lot, Lord, like, come on, universe. This is what I call surrender. You get to that stage and you're just like, I'm done with it. I'm handing this lot over. Sometimes I reframe. I love to reframe and do see different perspectives of things. You were talking about that. So I love to do that. And I use my intuition as to, where do I need to pull? Do I need to do a meditation? Do I need to reach out to my coach? Can I just grab my pen a minute? Do I just need to go and shift out? Is it just old energy that hasn't come out yet? Shall I go and play and fly a kite? Do you know what I mean? I have no process, but I know that what I do is led by spirit, and I have the right support system. Even now with Simon, he understands. We're talking about communication, and I say to him, when a feeling comes up, he used to say to me, oh God, not again, like, what's up with you? And I'm like, babe, this is going to come up for the rest of my life, because if I want to grow, I've got to keep moving up to the next level. You may as well accept that. And I want you to know that I've got this. I don't need you to always support me. So now, but I say to him, I need to allow it to come out in that moment, always. Whether I feel sick because there's been like a gut wrenching hurt there, or whether I just want to cry because I'm very emotional as well. And so I say to him, I'm feeling something. So I run up to my bedroom, I sit on my bed, I allow the tears to come out, and he leads me to it. I'm like, I'm good. I've got a coach for this. This doesn't come into our relationship. Like, I've got this. And if I haven't got this, I go to my coach, and he'll keep popping in. You good? Nope, still crying. Still, he's like, okay, cool, got ya. Like, it's almost like his yep, we're good. Like, this is exciting, because he loves to see what's on the other side. And he's like, you blow my mind, Claire, with your emotional intelligence. My coach reached me out the other day. She said, you're in for all of it. Like, you went through a rough patch. Like, it was hard. And even still, you're going, what do I need to do? Like, how can I move through this stuff? And this is what I love to help women, is to run into all of it. Run into it. It's a good thing. Like you were saying, we were scared. It's like, we don't want to feel this. It's like, see it and run into it and run through it and set yourself free. Like, I believe that. I believe you.
I just got this image of like a wild horse spirit thingy, and it's just, oh, that. Let me message you back after this, and let me think, because it's just this absolute, that was crazy. I love it. Absolutely love it. I do. So what, were you finished with all of that? Was there something else that you wanted to add?
No, I think we were good. That just channeled
that was just brilliant.
Yeah,
that was perfect. Yeah. So, and I just to touch on it, I just love how much trust you have in yourself and in the unknown, because this can be very tricky for anybody that's starting out, thinking it's a little bit, okay, I don't see it. How on earth is this going to come? We need to wipe all that. We get rid of all that. It all comes from our heart. And the more that we practice, the more that we hear. So we'll go more into that. But for now, just ask that question. What values are you committed to?
Okay.
I love these questions.
Three values that and even up to the last week, the new one came, 2 weeks ago, the new one came in. Fun, always. Faith and freedom.
I love that.
I chose in May the word free. I had to have a word, because like you were talking about, I'd love to just pick up on this for a couple of seconds. If we want to grow, if we want to transform, if we want different results in our life, we need to go and do things that we've never done before. We need to go and be the person that we've never been before. So everything you enter into is the unknown. Always. Because if you know it, there's no growth. If you know it, you're playing the same person that you're already playing. You're not in the playing field. So the word in May was free. I just wanted to feel free. It didn't matter if I was doing the housework, playing with the kids, running around the woods. I literally, you said about the horse, I literally just wanted to always see myself like my hair just blowing in the wind, like just feeling so free without fear of judgment. That's probably why it came up in June. Without the fear of judgment, without the fear of people leaving me, without all those fear. I just wanted to be able to be who I am, say what I want to say, connect with spirit, and just own all of that kind of stuff. I wanted to be free. But then the freedom was great. The fun was great till I was running around the woods and I was like, this is not fun. This is like, trying to run. So I went back to free. And then when I hit those fears, I was like, what have I got to hang on to? What can I hold on to? Faith. It's all I had. I didn't know how the bills were going to be paid. I couldn't work that out. I didn't know where my next client was coming from. I didn't know. I have no control who buys my programs. I knew me. I trusted me, but I trusted God a hell of a lot more than that. And I knew my needs would always get met. God saved me that day that gave me those words, you have to help yourself. And with that, I found this ring, literally came up. I've been looking at this ring for a couple of years and it kept saying, I am enough. I am enough. And I never bought it and I couldn't understand why. And now I know, because I know I'm enough already now. I know I'm enough, but the reminder is always that never will be outgrown. If you can see it, it says, have faith. I put it on my thumb. It looks at me all the frigging time. And I'm like, that's all I've got. Sometimes this is all I've got is faith. So it's still to have fun, feeling free, being able to do and be whoever we are, knowing that we will be loved and we will be okay no matter what. And I can always hold on to faith. If I've got faith, I'm good. I'm always good, as long as I hold on to faith.
I love how you see the world. I love how you bring it into words. It's just so freeing. It's magical as well. And
I think Lauren, like you explained as well, we've been caught up, we've held ourselves in these cocoons, in these pods for so long that haven't served us. And when you look back and go, how did that serve you? Yeah, not very good. I had myself in armor. Nobody could touch me or break me. Like I had to have my defense mechanisms up. That's all gone. It's all cracked down. And I'm like, do you know what? I don't want to live like that anymore. I don't want to live by what would they say? What would they think about? Do you remember like when you used to go out and you phone out your friends, go, are you wearing a dress or are you going to put jeans and a top on? Like you had to have that reassurance. I had to have that reassurance. I didn't want to go to the event where people had trousers on and I wore a dress, because then I'd be overdressed, or they'd be in dresses and I'd have jeans and a top on and I was like, that is so suffocating for a soul. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like
to fit in, isn't it?
And yeah. I'm like, I did a post the other day. We're not here to fit in. We're here to stand out. That's what the world needs. And so the freedom just went, rip yourself wide open and just be who you want to be. Set yourself free. And I've had more clients buying my programs. I've had more money come into me. Our relationship is just like the fun. We just have so much fun. Like, set yourself free, ladies. If you're watching this right now, get rid of worrying about judgment, what other people think. Are you doing it right? Are you doing it wrong? That was the biggie that I was just thinking of. I always had the fear of doing it wrong. And my coach said to me, what does wrong equal? And I went, I don't even know what wrong is. And I said, now I know what wrong is. Wrong is me about doing something in case I upset somebody else. That's wrong. The only right and wrong, I think
You're okay. You've come back.
Blipped them. Sorry, my Wi-Fi blipped. We're back on. So yeah, the only thing that is ever going to be right is me being me, speaking my truth. The only wrong would be worrying about what everybody else thinks and what they think I should be doing or I shouldn't be doing. That's the right or wrong. And that takes balls and courage and doing the work, but it's so freeing.
Yeah. If I had listened to everybody else from my past that told me I couldn't do what I do now and I wouldn't be where I am now, I would not be where I am now, basically, should I say. But it took me a while. It took me a while to create the mindset, to create the belief, to have the faith in myself to say, and it was mine was the desire. When I wake up in the morning, I have this pull, and it gets so strong. And it was getting to the stage of where it was making me that uncomfortable because I was ignoring it, because I didn't want to lose what I had around me or anything like that. And the second I let go, the second I started going, okay, what is it that you're asking me to do? I'm now here. I coach people, I train people in programs all about how we can understand ourselves and how we can feel happier and how we can bring all of this magic into our lives. And also my biggest one is to bring awareness. It's to bring awareness because we're not taught this. We said it at the beginning, and even though it might sound a little bit like, oh, that's pointless, the biggest one I have, and it really grates on me, is I don't have the time. I don't have the time to feel happy. I don't have the time to care about myself. I don't have the time to do the things for myself. If you don't have the time for yourself, you shouldn't be doing anything else, because you can't be passing anything positive onto other people, because we're an empty cup. Yeah. And it took me so many years to understand this, because I've always been one of them people that helps everybody else. And I would be literally I could, like, to the point where I am exhausted. And I'd still have a friend ring me and go, hey, Lauren, can you just nip here and watch the kids? Or can you do this? And I'm like, yeah, sure. But could I get myself to bed earlier that night? Could I just switch off for 2 minutes without go? And it's really a vital part in my journey personally of how I kind of went through them experiences to get here. Does that make sense?
Yes, 100%. And you need to have the confidence to be able to say no, and know that no is okay. It's okay to say no, but we fear the rejection, or we fear of hurting somebody else's feelings by saying no. And I think when you take the courage back in and understand when we have the times for ourselves to do what makes us feel good, then the kids are happier, the relationships are happier.
Boundaries, isn't it?
Yeah, so much more. And we've had this wrong in our minds for so many years, that we look after everybody else first and not ourselves. And like, I stand really strong. I am number one in my life. Always, 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 always. I come before Simon. I come before my kids. I come before my business, my clients, my programs. I do. When I'm clean, I move forward from that space.
I love it. I love it. I really, really do. So how do you, we feel like we're literally on they're all flowing into the next question. So how do you keep your feelings from clouding your next steps?
Clean them up. Clean them up. Always, always. So like, for example, I wake up this morning, felt a bit grumpy, had a bit of a late night. So acknowledge that, like, catch it quick, acknowledge that. Why are you grumpy? You didn't have much sleep, right? Is this the truth? Question it out. And then I go, how can I reframe that? Is, all right, so you may feel a bit grumpy, but go for a run, do your things, then we'll check and see if we need to really go in and do the work. Get up, run around the woods, like, we're good. Yesterday we'd eaten so much. We'd eaten pizza on Friday, hot dogs on a barbecue Saturday, roast dinner yesterday, chocolate cake. And I went to try and run around the woods, and I literally heard myself saying, oh my gosh, this is like dragging a sack of potatoes around the wood, like, as in my body. And so it felt heavy. It was hard work. I was like, this is annoying. Like, and then partway around the woods, like, just to, like, spirit come through and go, well, yes, you ate all that stuff, so can you have a bit of compassion for yourself right now? Can you have a bit of love? And go, yeah, you were allowed to eat that. Like, it's okay to run a bit slower today. It's okay if you want to stop and take a breather for 5 minutes.
Person to beat myself up when I've had a chocolate cake or something and I shouldn't have done. I'm the worst.
So it was like, then I just undid my words and went, oh, it was fine. You were with family. It was great. You enjoyed all this stuff. Monday now, my new thing is cleaning up my nutrition, my energy. Like, my brain's good. My mind's good. It knows how to clean up. But then the body was coming from that. And it was just like, just the way I swapped those words around. I'm not a sack of potatoes. Like, Claire, how you wouldn't say Oh,
Crazy.
Laura, you look like a sack of potatoes. Like, so why do you say it back to yourself? It's like, no. So I try and I'm very aware of those words and that feeling. Those words made me feel heavy and slowed me down. Give love on yourself right now. So yeah, just I clean them up. And I've got a system which I use in my programs, and it works every single time. And that is a real simple 3-step process. And I thought that wasn't enough. I thought I had to create something bigger, like, you know, a bigger system. But I'm about quick, simple, effortless. And I've even moved that down to something now where I can just flip stuff within 2 minutes. It's like, let's just get the job done, switch
Well,
it.
I think this is where we slip into the fix it mentality as soon as we start overthinking it, don't we? And this is kind of coming to me now from everything that we've spoke about, because the more that, you know, the more that we sit there and say, oh, I'm still not feeling good and I want to clear this, you're more focused on the not feeling good. You're focused on the heavy feeling. And the whole point in us shifting and changing our emotions is energy is emotion flowing, energy in motion. That's how I see it. So as I'm learning, the more I learn about this, the more when I'm starting to feel tense, the morning, sometimes I can be like, I just feel a bit like a zombie. It takes me a good 10-15 minutes to properly wake up. But in that time, the way I do it is I kind of do a narrative in my head. I'll tell myself the story, because for many years I used to wake up and I used to give myself a very negative story. It was all about the past. It was all about the victim story of who I used to be and how I could never change. And the biggest turning point for me back in the day was, I need to change this narrative. I need to change my story. And that I carried with me alongside gratitude. I've incorporated lots of little things. And I love how you've just said, I think it was on the question before, where you do lots of things and it depends where you are, what are you feeling, what's coming up for you. And this is why I create a toolbox with all of these different things, because it's not a one size fits all.
Yes.
And as you said, you know, you've got this quick instant flip. Depending on what I'm dealing with, I can flip it. If it's something that's heavy and it's got more emotion and more attachment to it, it takes me a little bit longer. But my point is I love how you've said many times now, do not focus on it. Don't start fixing it, because what we're doing there is we're focusing on that problem and we're going to generate more of that bad, or not bad, but more of that heavier feeling.
Yeah.
So the quick way, I absolutely love it. And I love how you've just been able to talk through that as well.
And also, like, what I've realized, I had, I think it was back in January, I was done with the business. Like, I was not getting the results. It was hard work. Nothing was alignment. Nobody was buying. We'd spent over 40 odd thousand pounds on my investment, self-development, coaches, all the stuff. And I wanted to tell Simon that I'm quitting. I'm out. I got so scared, but literally I was like kind of breaking down, and I thought, just get in the shower. That's my place. Like, just get in the shower. And Simon obviously felt the energy, and something told him to come and find me. And so he came in the bathroom, and I was like crying. I was crouched down in the shower, like shaking, like rocking. And he was just like, what on earth? And I was like, I need to tell you I'm quitting. I'm not doing this anymore. And had my best friend have seen me, she'd have said she needs help. This is how she was 6 years ago. She's got bipolar again. She's depressed again, because the physical body went into that. But at the same time, I told him I'm good. I'm good. And so what I believe is, sometimes when we
give our power away, don't we?
When we go through these physical things, it may not always be a relation to what's happening in the now. So we tend to see things that are happening in the now, and then the emotion comes through that we believe that the two are mixed. But actually what's happening now could mean that something from the past, from 6 years ago, had to come up. I hadn't released it properly. So the physical body went through that depression and bipolar physically. It was like coming out of me like this to go, but it was just something that triggered me then, that allowed that to come out. So I had to play out physically, allow the body, because we are all energy, it had to shake its way out. It had to cry itself out. It had to rock like I used to rock through the depression and all that kind of stuff. It went through the same emotions as that, because it had to come up and come out. It didn't mean I was going to quit, but that's what it felt. So
and I'm sure we can all relate to many times where we've all felt like this just isn't working. I quit. And what really throws me out of it is what's your next option, Lauren? And it's going looking for a job. And I'm like, okay, I'm back in.
We're back in.
What do I need to do?
Yeah. So it doesn't always mean that the fear is related to the thing at the time. We always make and add the story, because I feel this now and this is coming through means that these two are connected. And it's like, no, you may feel this now, but this is coming up from past 6 years ago, whatever.
And that's really powerful for me, because I have things that come up for me as well. But having that realization now to know that not everything is triggered by that moment. So there's times where I can react to somebody or something because it's happening, but what it's actually doing is bringing up that fear of abandonment. It's bringing up that fear of not being good enough. Yeah. And I just love how that hand movement's just done it for me. And I'm just like, that's why I keep there's a certain aspect where I keep kind of it's not in like in a bad way, but you know, when you react and the reaction's just not getting me the result I want.
Yeah.
And from just doing that, I'm like, and I can see where it is. I'm going to share a bit more about that after this, but that's fabulous. Okay, so I'm a little bit conscious of time. Obviously, I want to respect everybody's time. We've been on for 1 hour and 10 minutes. And we've got one question left. And then obviously, if you can just tell us where everybody can find you, what your programs are, and anything else that you want to share. This has been absolutely incredible. So to finish off, and this question, I love it. I love every question. It's the reason I wrote these questions, but still, what's the advice you would give to your younger self who is just beginning this journey?
You will be okay. No matter what. No matter what, you will be okay. I want to cry. No matter what, you will be okay. No matter what, you will be okay. People will leave you, you will be okay. You will fall over, you will be okay. People will hurt you, you will be okay. You will be judged, you will be okay. No matter what, you will be okay.
This is crazy, isn't it? Life is a crazy. I love that message, because we build it up so much in our head. How if we make a mistake, if something doesn't go right, that is the end of it. And the thing is that I've learned over the last few years, especially, is we have to fail in order to succeed. It's the only way to know. If you are not failing, you're not moving forward, you're not coming out of your comfort zone. And that's not in a bad way. That's just to say, push yourself in a direction that brings up the fear, walk through the fear and expand your awareness.
100%.
I really don't want to. And every time I come and do these interviews, I'm like, I don't want to go. I know.
They're great.
I haven't, apologies for those. I have noticed a few people, notifications have been coming up, but I haven't been looking at comments. I'm going to jump off in a minute and I'm going to jump onto all of the comments. So I do see there's quite a few people with us. So thank you so much for being here. Just quickly, I forgot to mention at the start, we are doing an expansive giveaway, and I'm going to call it the Great Giveaway. I'm not actually going to share what the prizes are, and I've just decided this now, because what I feel is the whole point in this series is to bring about this energy, to bring about the unknown. And when we're actually involved, if we were to share and you won this competition not knowing what it is, imagine how good that's going to feel to you. Imagine how good not knowing, and then all of a sudden you could get a one-to-one call or a free program for your personal development, or a voucher for a book, or an incredible just imagine just waking up and go, oh, I won. And I want everyone to feel that. I want you to feel the energy, because this is the energy that we talk about. This is what we tap into. This is what it is about. So if anybody wants to take part, there is limitless ways. So you can share this video, you can jump into the Female Expansionist group. There are pictures that you can post. You could put your insights of this incredible. I would do my own post if I was in this. When you see these prizes, this has been so powerful, and I do this as well so I can learn. I am constantly learning. I'm open to, even though I might have heard some information, I always learn. The second time I hear it, it lands differently. I learn again. And I'm so grateful for your time. So if anyone has any questions for Claire, please put them below. And just before we go, a huge thank you, but can you just let everybody know where they can find you, what you've got going on, just everything you've got, just throw it out there, because I want everybody to get into your world.
I love you, Lauren. Thank you. Yeah, so you can find me, Claire Chapman, on Facebook. I have a free community, the Attraction Coaching Facebook group. Come on over into there. You can also find me on Instagram as Claire_Louise_Chapman. That's where all my stories go. That's where I hang out over there too. What do I have going on? It's funny that you were talking about then the unknown, not knowing about the prizes. It's all about manifestation. And I'm currently just done the first module of my program, Become Magnetic, the journey to manifestation. And it's all about manifesting wealth, happiness, have like whatever you want to manifest right now. It's about bringing that in. So it's a great tie-in around the gifts, like what energy are the viewers in right now? Who's going to bring into their energetic field what gift for what? Like they don't know. And this is how manifestation works. So I have that program out right now. The doors are still open if you want to come into that. And I also have my programs Elevate and Illuminate. Elevate no matter what, and Illuminate self-awareness to become empowered. They are happening in July. We've got round 2. That's the masculine and the feminine energies, where you do run into yourself and you clean up the work. Become Magnetic is still about doing the work, cleaning up, but that's about getting you and your energy squeaky clean, your alignment, so that you can have things like winning these gifts in, you know, bringing in money from nowhere, manifesting a 5K month. Like, yeah, I'm so excited right now. So they're my programs. I do have coaching, one-on-one coaching, all that kind of stuff, but you have to message me. So yeah,
Brilliant.
Thank you
and
so much, Lauren.
You're so welcome.
It's the most, like, I've loved every question. I love who you are. I love what this collection stands for and the power. And you are so beautiful, so incredible. I love walking alongside you. You're amazing. I love you.
I wasn't expecting that. Thank you so much. And what I will do for anybody that's watching, I'll put your links below. So if you want to put your Facebook, your group, anything like that. And also, I'll double check with you, Claire, I'm sure it's okay. I will also put them on the website. So anybody that's signed up under the link, it's another way to get a competition entry. But I'll put all of the details on the website, so you'll get emailed everybody after the guest speakers have spoke, everybody's points and Instagram and Facebook and where to find them. I'll put that all there, so it's readily available for anybody to come and get your magic, because it'll just change. Everything will change. Life will change. And it's about expanding. It's about living from our desires and truly, truly having a life that we love and what makes us feel good. And I have just absolutely loved every second of this as well. I would keep on, but I'm sure we need to go. But thank you so much. Thank you for everybody that's been watching. And I will catch up with all the comments soon. Take care, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.